This episode of ACP FAQs is presented by the American Covenant Party, protecting democracy.
Hey guys, I like Mark Cuban. Unlike a lot of billionaires, he actually seems connected to humanity, and he seems to have a sound mind for business. So when I saw his post on X going after California Democrat Ro Khanna over the proposed billionaire tax, it caught my attention. Now, Cuban didn't just disagree with the tax, he completely dismantled the mechanics of how it would actually work in the real world. He pointed out that in the modern economy, founders are billionaires on paper only. Basically, they're cash poor and stock rich, meaning they simply lack the cash to pay the tax out of pocket. Now, this being the case, Cuban argued that a wealth tax would force them to either take out a loan against their stock options, drain cash from their startups, or force the state to literally seize their stock just to pay the tax bill. Then he lays down the hammer. He says only an idiot startup founder stayed in California. And he drove the point home by saying, I will make not being in California a prerequisite for an investment. He finishes it off by saying, ideology is not a strategy, Ro. Now, what he left out is how the system actually works. To be clear, this tax is a referendum that's being presented to the voters. If it becomes law, it will be not because of a politician, it will be because of the will of the people. So, speaking as a concerned U.S. citizen, here are 5 reasons California should pass the billionaire tax. Number 1, the cash poor illusion. What Cuban didn't mention is that these stock-rich, cash-poor billionaires are actually borrowing money tax-free against their stock options, which they use to fund their lavish lifestyles. Also, they deduct those losses on their corporate and state income tax returns, effectively forcing taxpayers to finance their startups. Now, this is not to mention how they leverage trillions in taxpayer dollars that taxpayers have invested in Silicon Valley since the 1960s, investments that made the tech hub possible in the first place. And if they end up paying any taxes at all, it's the capital gains tax, which is a fraction of the rate a working professional actually pays. So this gets us to number 2, the empty threat of leaving. Cuban threatened that founders will move, typically that means to Florida, Texas, or Tennessee, which is their standard playbook. Move to a business-friendly state, exploit the state's resources, cheap labor and infrastructure until the state asks for a return on investment. And then they leave. I've seen this game firsthand. Growing up, my hometown was full of furniture factories. The community thrived on them. That wasn't until the people at the top decided that only an idiot would manufacture furniture in the United States when there's an abundance of cheap, sometimes forced labor overseas. Today, those empty factories stand as monuments to the emptiness of Mark's threats. The threat of corporate flight simply never goes away. And this brings us to number 3, a shadow campaign versus direct engagement. So, have you noticed that billionaires rarely if ever run for public office? That's because they don't want to engage directly with the voters or defend their beliefs and practices in the open. Instead, they run shadow campaigns. They finance political parties to pass favorable legislation behind closed doors, and then scream the loudest when the public tries to fix the very problems they created, which leads us directly to number 4, the race to the bottom. Oligarchs across the nation have made a clear threat: slash our taxes or we leave. So we beg them to stay. We got personal and corporate income tax rates in exchange for the promise of jobs. We hike our property and sales taxes just to cover the budget shortfalls. And what do? They take those tax savings and invest in AI to automate away the very jobs they promised to create for us. They are telling us, in no uncertain terms, you will never do enough to satisfy us. However, we have our own trump card. Number 5, the consumer market is king. A billionaire's loyalty is to the shareholder, not to the citizen. They've called out a special status that sits above accountability to the people. But here's the reality. We are a $20 trillion consumer market. To put this in perspective, our market is the same size as China, India, and the EU combined. This means they need us far more than we need them. If all the oligarchs disappeared today, and they know this to be true, the American people and the American economy will be just fine. That's why this issue is far bigger than the California billionaire tax. Across the nation, the ultra-wealthy are making a mockery out of our tax policy. Massive federal and state income and corporate tax cuts, along with tax code manipulation, has shifted the entire tax burden of the nation onto the middle class. This has caused a massive federal budget deficit and sharp increases in your local property and sales taxes just to make up the difference. Of course, they hypocritically promise jobs in exchange for those tax cuts, while using the savings to invest heavily in AI to eliminate the need for those jobs. Texas, Florida, and Tennessee are currently traveling down this path, oblivious to the reckoning that's coming. Just look at the former manufacturing hubs around the nation, like my hometown, and you'll see what happens when the billionaires extract their profits with no accountability. So now, here's the bottom line. We are not little puppets. We built this $20 trillion consumer market through our collective investments in healthcare, education, roads, and bridges. So trust me when I say billionaires aren't going anywhere. And if they leave, they will come crawling back to our markets before we ever have to beg them to come back and save us. Now, the only way to stop this grift is to force our representatives to listen. Voting is the one institutional practice for which the oligarchs have no defense. Not even gerrymandering can save them. Why? Because gerrymandering only works at the margins. Mobilizing the full diversity of the people ensures we protect our seat at the table. So vote, vote, vote. Now, this enduring struggle is exactly why I created ACP FAQs. This is a civic education series that celebrates the absolute privilege of having a voice in our government. Our mission is to equip North Carolinians with clear, unvarnished facts so we can speak up, vote with confidence, and stand firmly by our beliefs, by remaining genuinely open to better alternatives. If you agree, please subscribe to the channel and share this with someone you talk politics with. Every informed vote, every honest discussion, every challenge to lazy talking points ensures we protect our seat at the table. Thanks for watching. Let's keep building.